너 하나 I can But it's you You're the one that I want You Everything that I want Blue 내 곁에 내린 blue 모든 게 바뀌어
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Siti Haja binti Muhammad Zaidi, also known as Haja from Kuliah 20, and today I'll be beginning the presentation of my group, which is on phosphorus. So the topics that we will go through today would be, first is phosphorus, as in generally what is phosphorus, its atomic number, its occurrence in nature, also its importance, which were presented by me. Second is the physical properties of phosphorus, which will be presented by my fellow groupmates Nur Shazwina. Third would be chemical properties of phosphorus, which will also be presented by my fellow groupmate Nur Humaira. Fourth would be the uses of calcium phosphate in agriculture, which will be presented by none other than my group leader, Muhammad Akil. So, moving on, let me share some facts about phosphorus with all of you. So, phosphorus, also known with the symbol of P in a periodic table, has an atomic number of 15. So, its electronic configuration would be neon, Ne3s2 3p2, and its atomic mass is, I don't know if you can see it here, but its atomic mass is 30.974. Okay, so its position in periodic table is in group 15 and period 3. So as you can see here, it is in the black box right here, and its major form is in major form of phosphorus is first white phosphorus and red phosphorus, which we will go into details later by my friend Nur Shazwina. So moving on, I'll share some fun facts about phosphorus. So did you know that in our crust, our Earth crust, there is approximately 0.2% of phosphorus abundance? Did you know that? I didn't know that at first, so I'm sharing it here with you guys, so all of you guys know now. So phosphorus abundance in our Earth crust are highly reactive, so it does not exist as free elements, but it is widely distributed as minerals, which is phosphate. As you can see here, phosphate ion is PO43 negative. So moving on, its occurrence in nature. The sole imperative commercial source of phosphate is in phosphate rocks, as you can see in the picture here. So, which is primarily calcium phosphate, Ca3PO42. Okay, so let's move on to the importance of phosphorus. There are 4 importance of phosphorus, which I will be explaining to all of you. First would be in living cells, also known as ATP. ATP. What is ATP actually? I think most of you guys already know this, but ATP stands for adenine triphosphate. So we can already see here that adenine triphosphate, that's phosphate there. So phosphate is in ATP, which is a molecule that stores energy to help us go through with our daily life, basically do everything that we do, from metabolism to breathing to movement of our muscles. So that's basically everything that we do all day long. So phosphate is very important here, right here. Okay, next would be phosphorus in our bones and teeth. So working together with calcium and magnesium, phosphorus is one of the main important mineral in building healthy bones. So in fact, the formation of our bones consists of 85% of phosphorus. So what will happen if we have low phosphorus in our body? So what will happen actually is our bones will weaken, we will feel pains in our bones, and we could easily experience fracture and all other bones injuries. So do you want that? I don't want that. So make sure to have phosphorus in your daily diet, okay? Third will be phosphorus in fertilizers. Phosphorus is important in fertilizers because it helps a plant to convert other nutrients into building blocks with which to grow. So usually on fertilizers bags, we could see the symbol NPK balance, which P stands for, you guess it right. P stands for phosphorus. So okay, we know that phosphorus is important for plants to grow, but what happens if we have high level of phosphorus in our soil, and what happens if we have phosphorus deficiency? So stay tuned with us to know more about that, because that will be presented more details by Muhammad Akil. Fourth is nucleic acid. So nucleic acid is basically RNA and DNA, which is used to store and transmit genetic information in our body. So basically, nucleic acid consists of long chain of phosphates. So again, phosphorus. So it is important because to store without phosphorus, without this long chain of phosphorus, there will be no RNA and DNA. Okay, so I think that's all for my part, and I'll be passing the presentation to my dear friend Nur Shazrina. Thank you for lending me your ears. Till we meet again. Bye. So hi. I noticed that I've said wrong just now. Its electronic configuration of phosphorus is Ne3S2 3P3. Sorry for mispronouncing it. So
파티를 시작할게 리듬 따라 you and me 걱정을 날려줘 멀리 제멋대로 dance with me 머리를 흔들어 더 높이
Firstly, we will discuss about the physical properties in white phosphorus. This is the structure of white phosphorus. White phosphorus exists as molecules made up of 4 atoms in a tetrahedral structure. It is a waxy and transparent solid that quickly becomes yellow when exposed to light. It has a melting point at 44.1 degrees Celsius, and it has a boiling point at 280 degrees Celsius. The density of white phosphorus is 1.88 gram per centimeter cube. In vacuum, white phosphorus is sublimed if exposed to light, which means it's transformed directly from the solid phase to the gaseous phase without passing through an intermediate liquid phase. It is phosphorescent, which gives striking greenish-white glow in the dark when exposed to oxygen. White phosphorus has a bad solvation in water, but dissolves well in other liquids such as benzene and carbon disulfide. Next, we will discuss about the physical properties in red phosphorus. This is the structure of red phosphorus. Red phosphorus exists in a polymeric chain of tetrahedrally structured phosphorus molecules. Each phosphorus atom in phosphorus is linked to 3 other phosphorus atoms in a tetrahedral structure. The first physical properties of red phosphorus is it can be produced by heating white phosphorus up to 240 degrees Celsius with catalyst. The density of red phosphorus is 2.34 grams per centimeter cube. Red phosphorus is also unable to dissolve in most liquids. The last one is black phosphorus. This is the structure of black phosphorus. Black phosphorus has an orthorhombic pleated honeycomb structure. It appears similarly to graphite powder, and it also can be synthesized from white phosphorus under extreme pressure. The density of that phosphorus is 3.56 to 3.83 gram per centimeter cube. One of the fascinating character of that phosphorus is its electric conductivity in spite being a non-metal compound. That's all from me. Thank you. Now I'll pass the presentation to Ira.
솔직하게 난 말하고 싶어요 사라져 아니 사라지지 마내 맘을 보여줘 아니 보여주지 마 하루 종일
So hello everyone. After we had talked about physical properties and also formation of phosphorus before this, for today's video, we're going to talk about chemical properties of phosphorus. For today's video, before we go to the main parts of chemical properties of phosphorus, we have to know that the phosphorus is very reactive. Chemical properties of phosphorus can be divided into 4 main parts. So for the first part, the phosphorus will react with oxygen, which oxygen will be sufficient and sometimes insufficient in our life. So the formation of phosphorus is differs when it's sufficient and insufficient. When there is no sufficient oxygen to react with phosphorus, it will form phosphorus trioxide. P4 plus 3 oxygen will form phosphorus trioxide. When there is sufficient oxygen, phosphorus pentoxide is formed, which gives P4 plus 5 oxygen will form phosphorus pentoxide. For the second part, phosphorus will combine easily with halogen, which we know that halogen comes from group 17, which includes fluorine, bromine, chlorine, and iodine, which in diatomic molecule. So for white phosphorus and red phosphorus, both of them will form phosphorus tribromide. For white phosphorus, P4 plus 6Br2 will come out with 4 phosphorus tribromide. While for red phosphorus, in forming phosphorus tribromide, 2P plus 3Br2 will form 2PBr2, forming phosphorus tribromide. Adding another general information for the phosphorus, white phosphorus is stored underwater for safety because white phosphorus is reactive. So white phosphorus cannot expose to the air because it is very reactive. Moving on to the third part of chemical properties of phosphorus. For the third part, phosphorus will react in excess of chlorine and bromine, which they react to form phosphorus 5-chloride or bromide, PCl5 or PBr5. For example, P4 plus 10Cl2 will form 4Cl5, which this formula is for white phosphorus. Also, reaction between phosphorus 3 chloride and phosphorus 5 chloride is okay. For this one, we have to highlight it using another pen because it is important. So it is reversible, which PCl3 plus Cl2 will form PCl5, which PCl5 also can return to PCl3 plus Cl2 because it is reversible. For the last part, we will talk about combining the phosphorus with metals, which combining them will form phosphide compound. The formula is CCa plus P4 forming 2Ca3P2. So that's it for chemical properties of phosphorus. So you guys can screenshot it later. Thank you.
Phosphate rock is the raw material used in the manufacture of most commercial phosphate fertilizer. Phosphate fertilizer are produced from the production of phosphoric acid by treating finely ground rock phosphate or calcium phosphate with sulfuric acid and then pulverized. Calcium phosphate as fertilizer are commonly known as Calphos fertilizer. This Calphos fertilizer is an environmentally safe natural source of phosphate and calcium for plants. Now let me share you about how to prepare this fertilizer. Calcium phosphate fertilizer are easily made from any substance that rich in calcium and phosphorus, such as eggshell. Every day we use egg and make sure do not throw the eggshell away because we can use it as our fertilizer ingredient. To prepare DIY calcium phosphate, first we must collect 10 to 20. We need to clean and dry it. Next, we must crush into tiny pieces to maximize the surface contact, and then fry until it halfway brown. Put into a container and pour it with acid or vinegar. Then we seal the container after the bubble raise up and ferment for a month. We need to filter the acid substance in order to have a pure solution. Before we directly use as fertilizer, we must mix with some water with correct ratio in order to have a right amount of ingredient. Calcium and phosphorus play a big role in plant growth. Calcium provides support to plant vascular system and structure, while phosphorus is a vital component of ATP, the energy unit of plants that helps plant convert other nutrients into useful building blocks to help plant growth. And one of the main effect of calcium phosphate to environment is high probability of water pollution. This is because too much phosphate fertilizer applied to soil and the excess phosphorus could easily get into water stream by rain. This factor will lead to another consequence, which is that it will speed up the process of eutrophication. When the soil with phosphate solution get into the water becomes nutritious and it will lead to excessive seasonal algae growth occur. When the algae grow rapidly on the surface of the water, it will block the sunlight from entering the water. The aquatic plant inside below the water could not run photosynthesis, and it will make the plant will die. The bacteria will use oxygen in the water and produce carbon dioxide. the concentration of oxygen in the water will decreasing, and the aquatic fauna such as fish and crabs will die.